Hey everyone, this is Yun and welcome back to another video entry in the interview series for Pride Month 2022. Today we have another guest. This is our third guest. Would you like to tell us your name and pronouns?
Hi, my name's Abigail. I go by she, her pronouns.
Yeah, and Abigail and I have known each other since middle school. Definitely one of my oldest friends. I don't have that many friends that I've known for 10 years or more, so very near and dear to my heart. Would you please tell us a little bit about your childhood growing up and the type of environment?
So I grew up in a rather large family. I have 6 siblings. It was also a very religious environment. I went to church every Sunday. I did activities every Wednesday, all surrounding my church, and I didn't have a lot of friends. I had like one friend, and then you showed up, and then
Yay!
life seemed better.
Yes, fun fact, we met on a school bus, which sounds like very storytelling device beginnings, but that's just the truth of how we met. Was there a moment where you felt that you might be different from other people, or maybe a moment where you felt like other people were not really treating you the same or viewing you the same?
Well, I have an older sister who was always trying to see if I had a crush on someone, like in a kind way, in an older sister way, but I never had crushes. I didn't really view people as objects to have desire for. The moment that I felt was different was during the pandemic. I was working with my brother. We were coworkers at the time, and I was talking with him and one of my other coworkers about shaving my head, and he turned to me and said, "Are you gay?" And
Oh, no.
I said, "I don't know."
That's such a call out. So you said, "I don't know." And had anyone asked you before about your attraction in like LGBT terms, or was that kind of the first time?
No one had ever asked me before, and it was definitely something that I wish had happened sooner, and I wish I had done the research sooner.
Well, after that, it seems like you went off and did some research. Were there big checkpoints in your learning?
Well, I found asexual first. I was like, that sort of, but like it doesn't really fit me exactly. And so I went under all the umbrella terms of asexual, and I found demisexual. For a kind term or kind definition that I like to tell people is I'm attracted to a person's personality and their mind rather than their physical body. I really felt that. Like, I really need to get to know someone first before I have any sort of desire to hold their hand or snuggle or kiss. I don't know.
Yeah, that's fair. And it's not that you don't understand objective beauty standards. Like, obviously you understand that.
I understand aesthetics.
Aesthetics, yes.
That's how I liked it. Yeah.
Exactly. That is a very good way to put it. The aesthetics. Your process of meeting people and potentially finding a partner is going to look different than your average person who is not asexual or demisexual. How do you approach people in the beginning and brief them? Do you typically go through a briefing process where you try and explain?
I do go through a briefing process, normally like either right before our first date or during our first date even. I lay out some boundaries. Like, I really don't like physical touch. Like, that's a no-go. Do not cross this line. Do not
pass go. Do not collect 200.
Exactly. I explain basically what demisexual means, and like I'm very open about it. I have it on my dating profile, like, hey, I'm demisexual. If you want to ask questions about it, then I'm perfectly fine answering them. And I do get a lot of questions, actually, about, like, especially going to a religious school. Not a lot of people are familiar with the vocabulary.
The school environment that you're currently at college, your childhood environment growing up, which was also very religious, there were extra pressures surrounding expectations of you. Can you share a little bit about what that was like?
So I was taught, and many people follow this still, is you date to marry. You don't date just to date. And in the school environment where I go, it is very pressured to go on maybe 5 dates with a person and then propose. That's slight exaggeration, but only slight.
Only slight.
Only slight. I tell people, like, I knew a couple who knew each other for 2 weeks and got engaged at the end of those 2 weeks. It's really difficult convincing people to slow down at my pace, to, like, get to know each other on a personal level, get to know all the quirks and everything there is to know about a person when they're dating. And especially since I don't gain feelings automatically, it's more of a, hey, we've been dating for 2 months. I think I actually like you.
Yeah, yay.
Before that, we're just, like, really good friends.
Yeah. It seems having the word demisexual to describe yourself and know that you're not alone. There are lots of people who are demisexual, helped you maybe feel more confident in communicating your expectations and your needs and not, wasting time with people who were just going to try and convince you to be otherwise or just straight out ignore, what you're saying. But you had to look that stuff up kind of on your own and do your own research. There wasn't a lot of, I guess you could say, role models, whether just role models or people that you would hear about in your daily life if you weren't intentionally looking for it in the media. That's hard because seeing yourself in another person living their own life and thriving is really important to a lot of LGBT plus people, because it's hard to envision if you're not doing it and you don't see other people doing it. Would you agree?
Oh, absolutely. I only found the term demisexual after a deep rabbit hole search. So it wasn't even easy to find the term. And it was really, looking back on my childhood, I wish I had something like a celebrity, a book character that just didn't fall in love automatically. Love at first sights or enemies to lovers or something like that. And I think that's why friends to lovers is one of my favorite book tropes, is because that's the closest I can get to any sort of representation.
Do you think there are certain qualities of people who are demisexual that could be better represented that friends to lovers doesn't really touch on? Or is it more that friends to lovers is still just like too fast and too focused on, or the narrative that we're sold about, like, this is what romance looks like or whatnot?
Yeah, it's definitely a little bit of the whole, this is what romance looks like. And a lot of them can be problematic, like being in love with the 15-year-old that they knew and not the person that they are. I definitely think that there could be better representation for all asexuals, but specifically demisexual for me. My entire life, all of my family and my friends, including yourself, have always said, like, hey, I always imagine you with, like, a really, really good friend that you turn to each other and say, you're the one. Having a label on it, just saying, like, instead of people saying, like, oh, you're just going to turn to your best friend one day and say, oh, you're the one for me. saying like, hey, I'm demisexual. That is who I am. It's not just a random circumstance that I'm going to find myself in one day.
By owning the language that you use, you're taking back that control, and you're taking back, like, I get to say who I am, not you don't get to tell me who I am. So,
exactly.
Yeah.
And I personally like who you are. So.
Well, I like who you are too. Well, to wrap up, do you have any advice for anyone out there who's maybe questioning, or to your younger self now that you know more in the present?
I would say to anyone questioning and my younger self, get to know yourself. Allow yourself to marinate in your own thoughts. Question them. I think questioning things is very important when questioning your identity and sexuality. Doing things like meditating and going on long walks with just your brain and your thoughts is really important, because you ultimately are your own best friend in the end.
Well, thank you so much for being a guest on this interview series.
Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah. Thank you to everyone who's watched all the way through this video. There will be more interview videos coming out for the series, and hopefully I will see you in another one of my videos. I also make content for LGBT plus indie games, if that's your sort of thing, and queer videos in general. So check out my channel. Bye. All right, I gotta put the jacket back on. Oh my God, and the freaking free Zoom is like, get your meeting finished in 10 minutes because we're gonna kick you out. The chaos.